It is Wednesday and it's time for a story time with Sophie. So I have put together a bunch of Wild Wednesday tales for you. So we're going to have a lot of wild animals and some wild howling and all kinds of really fun stuff today. So let's get started, shall we? I would love to read to you from Shel Silverstein's Where the Sidewalk Ends. As those of you who have been following me know, this is one of my favorite books. This is called Where the Sidewalk Ends, and this is by Shel Silverstein. And this morning's little story is called The Earlybird. Oh, if you're a bird, be an early bird, and catch the worm for your breakfast plate. If you're a bird, be an early, early bird. But if you're a worm, sleep late. I think that's pretty funny, huh? Okay, so let me show you the picture here. There is the worm, and there's the bird coming down for that worm. And that's the worm who wishes that he had slept a little bit later. So, let's get started with a hello song, shall we? I happen to be a very early bird. I love getting up early, but not everybody does. Let's say hello. Why don't we stretch this morning and say, hello, how are you? Oh, hello, how are you? Oh, hello, how are you? I'm just fine today. I'm glad to see you here today. I'm glad to see you here today. I'm glad to see you here today. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, so let's see. Why don't we stretch? Let's stretch really tall. Here we go. Oh, stretch, stretch, stretch as tall as you can, and stretch, stretch, stretch as tall as you can, and stretch, stretch, stretch tall as you can. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, and now how about if you reach down and touch your toes, shall we? Let's warm our whole body up. Reach right down and touch your toes, and reach right down and touch your toes, and reach right down and touch your toes. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, so how about we jump on 2 feet? And if you want to challenge yourself, you can jump on 1 foot, either the left foot or the right foot, doesn't matter. But if you don't feel comfortable on 1 foot, try 2. Here we go. Hop, hop, hop around the room, and hop, hop, hop around the room, and hop, hop, hop around the room. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, and because it is Wild Animal Day, let's howl! Howl if you can, and howl if you can, and howl if you can. I'm so glad to see you. Excellent. Okay, let's wave hello and get our day started. Hello, how are you? Oh, hello, how are you? Oh, hello, how are you? I'm just fine today. Well, everybody, it's such a fun day. It is so hot here in San Francisco. It's exciting. I always love when it gets really, really warm. That's why I'm wearing short sleeves. And in fact, yesterday when I went for a walk, I actually got a little sunburn. Isn't that fun? I know. Sunscreen, everybody. Wear sunscreen. Okay, I want to start with a book that was passed on to me by my sister, and it's called Molly the Monkey Finds a Pineapple. And this is by Kathleen Stefancin, MSRD, with illustrations by Patricia Popovich. M-A-A-T. They have a lot of letters, don't they? This is Molly Finds a Pineapple. And there's Molly. And it looks like she's found herself a nice pineapple. Let's see. Molly the Monkey Finds a Pineapple by Kathleen Stefancin, MSRD, with illustrations by Patricia Popovich, M-A-A-T. There's Miss Molly. This is a dedication to my family and the next generation. Stay connected to the healing power of plants by eating fruits and vegetables. K.S. To my parents, thank you for introducing me to the magic and wonder of the natural world. And Kathleen, thank you for believing in me. You are an amazing woman. P.P. While sitting under her favorite banana plant one summer day, Molly the monkey suddenly noticed a pineapple lying under a large green leaf. Curious, Molly picked up the pineapple and tried a piece. Delicious, she shouted, and then she ate the rest of the sweet, juicy pineapple. Doesn't that look good? Believing the pineapple had fallen from a tree, Molly began to swing from branch to branch, looking for more pineapples to eat. Along the way, she met a pretty little bluebird snacking on an apple. "Good morning, Miss Bluebird," said Molly. "Do pineapples grow on trees?" Miss Bluebird replied, "Oh, no, pineapples don't grow on trees like peaches, cherries, and plums. I think pineapples grow on vines." Molly thanked Miss Bluebird and jumped to the ground. She skipped through the forest, hoping to find pineapples growing on a vine. As she approached a small patch of vines, she saw a red fox nibbling on some grapes. "Well, hello, Mr. Fox," said Molly. "Do pineapples grow on vines?" Mr. Fox replied, "Oh no, pineapples don't grow on vines like watermelons, green beans, and cucumbers. I believe pineapples grow on bushes." Molly smiled and waved at Mr. Fox as she hurried away in search of a pineapple. She was determined to find one. Molly's a very polite little monkey, isn't she? Across a small field, Molly saw a cluster of brightly colored bushes. As she reached the bushes, she noticed a beautiful deer chewing a mouthful of blueberries. "Good morning, Miss Deer," said Molly. "Are there any pineapples growing on these bushes?" Miss Deer replied, "Oh, no. Pineapples don't grow on bushes like blackberries, red raspberries, and cranberries. I bet pineapples grow in the ground." Molly said goodbye to Miss Deer and trotted away. She stared at the ground so that she didn't miss a single trace of a pineapple. Eventually, she came face to face with a red squirrel, busily hiding nuts in the ground. "Hi, Miss Squirrel," said Molly. "Have you seen any pineapples growing in the ground?" Miss Squirrel replied, "Oh, no, pineapples don't grow in the ground like carrots, sweet potatoes, and beets. I imagine pineapples grow on top of the ground." Molly wanted a pineapple more than ever. She nodded a thank you to Miss Squirrel and hurried by her. Molly knew she was getting closer to discovering where pineapples grew. Next, she came across a valley of leafy greens. As she walked through the greens, a rabbit hopped up to her and said, "Hello, my friend. Are you looking for something?" "Hi, Mr. Rabbit," said Molly. "I'm looking for a pineapple. Have you seen one growing on top of the ground among these leafy greens?" Mr. Rabbit replied, "Oh, no, pineapples don't grow on top of the ground like kale, spinach, and Swiss chard. I picture pineapples growing on a stalk." Mr. Rabbit turned and pointed to a tall green stalk across the river. Excited, Molly leaped to the other side of the river. She ran toward the stalks, thinking she had finally found some pineapples. And when she reached the stalks, she spotted a big raccoon eating yellow corn. "Mr. Raccoon," she said, out of breath, "where are the pineapples?" Mr. Raccoon replied,
Pineapples don't grow on stalks like corn."
He scratched his head.
"In fact, I'm not sure where pineapples grow."
Molly felt very disappointed. She explained to Mr. Raccoon, "I've looked for pineapples in a tree, on a vine, and in a bush. I've searched in the ground, on top of the ground, and on a stalk." "I've found apples and grapes and blueberries and carrots and kale and corn, but I still haven't found a pineapple," she sighed. Molly thanked Mr. Raccoon and wondered what to do next. As she turned to leave, she slipped on something round and hard and landed on her back. Mr. Raccoon raced over to see if she was okay. A little stunned, Molly sat up. A huge smile appeared on her face. She had finally found a pineapple! Molly was fascinated to discover that pineapples grew on plants that were only 3 feet high, no taller than her. Even Mr. Raccoon was surprised. Because he ate only corn, he didn't notice the pineapples growing right next to the corn stalks. Isn't that funny how something can be right under your nose and you don't even notice it? Molly grabbed a fresh, juicy pineapple from the plant and began to eat it. "Oh, delicious!" she shouted, looking around joyfully at all the pineapple plants. Mr. Raccoon even tasted a bite. She thought about all the fruits and vegetables she found while looking for a pineapple. She decided to try some apples and grapes, blueberries and carrots, and kale and corn. Mr. Raccoon wanted to taste all the other fruits and vegetables too. Molly and Mr. Raccoon became good friends and returned to all the places where Molly had discovered the other fruits and vegetables. They tasted every last one of them. It wasn't long before all the animals in the forest were eating a variety of fruits and vegetables, thanks to Molly. Today, you'll often find Molly the monkey and her friends sitting under her favorite banana plant, surrounded by lots of fruits and vegetables. And that is the story of Molly the monkey finds a pineapple, by Kathleen Stefancin, MSRD, illustrated by Patricia Popovich, MAAT. So Molly not only found the pineapple she was looking for, but she also introduced her friends to some new foods. Isn't that nice? Well, we're going to sing a song not about Molly the monkey, but about a big baboon by the light of the moon. And it is called The Animal Fair. It goes like this. I went to the animal fair, the birds and the beasts were there. The big baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. The monkey, he was stuck. He sat on the elephant's trunk. The monkey sneezed, fell down on his knees, and what became of the monk? Goodness gracious, let's start this all over again, because I just had what was called a little brain. I just really forgot all the words. So let's try this one more time. Here we go. I went to the animal fair, the birds and the beasts were there. The big baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. The monkey, he was stuck. He sat on the elephant's trunk. The elephant sneezed, fell down on his knees, and what became of the monk, the monk, the monk, the monk, the monk? Let's try it one more time. I went to the animal fair, the birds and the beasts were there. The big baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. The monkey, he was sunk. He sat on the elephant's trunk. The elephant sneezed, fell down on his knees, and what became of the monk, monk, monk? Well, hopefully this monk went and ate some pineapple, and that's what became of the monk. You know, sometimes my brain just goes, whew. I don't know if you ever have that happen to you, but sometimes it happens to me. I think it's because I'm thinking about all the different things that I'm going to be doing in the next moments or two instead of focusing on what is important, which is having a song with you. I have another story, though. Are you ready for this one? This is from a storybook called Coyote Goes Walking. And these are stories, Indian tale stories that are, I guess these are, let's see, which kind? I think they're from, let me check really quick, from Mexico, Canada, United States, and Alaska. And these are retold with pictures by Tom Pohrt. Coyote Goes Walking. And I want to read you Coyote and Woodpecker. Look at that amazing drawing. Can you see the woodpeckers in the tree there? And there's Coyote wrapped up in a jacket. Coyote and Woodpecker. Coyote was out walking in the woods. He noticed that Woodpecker was sitting on a limb in front of a tree where he lived with his wife and children. "Ha-ha!" Coyote called Woodpecker. "I saw you coming. My wife..." A little bit of interesting light happened there. Okay. "Ha-ha!" Coyote shouted Woodpecker. "I saw you coming. My wife is heating water. You must stay and eat with us. I'm going to get some food." Coyote watched Woodpecker fly to an old pine tree and began to peck at the bark with his beak. Up the tree Woodpecker went, pecking hard and fast. He made a lot of noise. Coyote had never seen anyone collect food like this before. At last, Woodpecker had gathered a big supply of worms, which he brought back home to cook. Coyote climbed into the woodpecker's lodge and sat down. It was crowded, but Coyote liked the food. And when Coyote was ready to leave, he thanked Woodpecker and his family and invited them to come for a meal at his lodge in a couple of days. So let me show you that picture there one more time. Aren't these beautiful pictures? After 2 days had passed, Woodpecker said to his wife, "Oh, it's time to go visit Coyote and see what he has fixed for us to eat." When Woodpecker and his family arrived at Coyote's camp, they found him high up in a tree. "Hey, Woodpecker," Coyote said, "I'll be with you in a moment. The water is boiling and I'm just getting some food here." Coyote had carved a beak out of wood. It looked something like Woodpecker's beak, and it was tied over his snout. Coyote began to peck at the tree. It hurt his nose and his mouth each time he pecked, but Coyote was not making a good hole in the tree to get the worms, and so he pecked harder. And the harder he pecked, the more dizzy he became, and the more overcome with pain. His eyes began to water, and finally, with one giant peck, Coyote knocked himself out and fell to the ground. Woodpecker and his family rushed over to help him. "Ah, my friend," said Woodpecker, "this is not your way to get food." Woodpecker flew to the pine tree and collected a big supply of worms. Woodpecker and his family cooked them in Coyote's lodge. The meal was delicious, and everyone, including Coyote, had a good laugh at his misfortune. But Coyote was still a little dizzy. Look, there's Coyote laughing, and there's Woodpecker laughing. So dinner wasn't ruined because Woodpecker was able to get the dinner for them. But isn't it interesting how Coyote should have just stuck to the way that he knew how to get food, huh? Sometimes we have to follow our instincts, which tell us how we're supposed to get our food. Well, I have a little song here for you that is about a bear following his instincts. He's going up and over a mountain. Oh, the bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain, bear went over the mountain to see what he could see, to see what he could see, to see what he could see. Oh, the bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain, bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. But all that he could see, but all that he could see was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, other side of the mountain. Was all that he could see, was all that he could see, was all that he could see. Oh, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. Well, there you have it. There's a bear going up and over the mountain. Now I want to share a story from A.A. Milne's Now We Are Six, with decorations by Ernest H. Shepard. And this is called Furry Bear, since we just had a song about a bear. If I were a bear, and a big bear too, I shouldn't much care if it froze or snew. I shouldn't much mind if it snowed or frizz. I'd be all fur-lined with a coat like his. There's Pooh looking at the big bear. For I have fur boots and a brown fur wrap and a brown fur knickers and a big fur cap. I'd have a fur muffle ruff to cover my jaws and brown fur mittens on my big brown paws. With a big brown furry down up to my head, I'd sleep all the winter in a big fur bed. And that is the story of Furry Bear from Now We Are Six by A.A. Milne, with decorations by Ernest H. Shepard. Well, if you can believe it, it's the end of Storytime already, and so it's time to say goodbye. I hope that you guys had a good time today. Sorry for my little glitches in here and there, but that's okay. Sometimes I make mistakes. It's all right. Let's say goodbye, shall we? Goodbye, Ollie. Goodbye, Charlotte. Goodbye, Maya. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Helen. Goodbye, Danny. Goodbye, Eli. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, JC. Goodbye, Delilah. Goodbye, Allie. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Lillian. Goodbye, Gabriella. Goodbye, Madeline. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Lily. Goodbye, Brad. Goodbye, Isabella. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, Frangelica. Goodbye, Francine. Goodbye, Alfie. I'll see you all next time. Well, bye, everybody. I'll see you on Friday. I've got lots more stories to share and lots of good things to bring. So let's give each other a high five. There's one. There's one for you. And if you want, how about a hug? Take one hand, put it on one shoulder. Take the other hand, put it on the opposite shoulder, and squeeze really, really tight. There's a big hug from me to you. Bye, everybody.